everyone, my name is Leanne and today I'm going to be telling you about some of the classic books that I'm most anticipating to read from my TBR and being quite honest about what I feel about them going into them. If you've been on this channel a while, you will know that I talk about classics quite a bit in the sense of that there are particular editions of classics that I collect. I collect the Penguin English Library editions of classics and I do a lot of hauls for these books. Probably not enough to match up with the amount of them I read. As you may also know, I don't normally have my entire book collection with me. I store a lot of my books, in fact the vast majority of my books, at my mum's house back in Dublin, and I have quite a limited selection of my books here with me where I'm going to university to do my masters. And when it comes to classic books, it's the ones you see up there and then the 5 books that I'm going to talk about in this video. And I think having that TBR slightly restricted is really going to help me actually tackle my classics TBR. I don't think I'm necessarily afraid of classics, you know, I've got a degree in English literature, I read a lot of classics for that. But I think I get it into my head that, you know, I could read a contemporary novel so much quicker than I would a classic. I think sometimes when I read a contemporary novel, I don't feel as much pressure to like fully understand the artistry and the amazing things that made this book a classic. Like sometimes when I read a classic book, I feel the need to look up loads of analysis about it, and sometimes I genuinely want to do that, but sometimes I just really don't, and I don't know why I put that pressure on myself. And I think when I haul so many classics, I spend a lot of time looking up not like synopses or anything, I don't want to know what happens in the plot, but just enough that I can tell you a little bit about what happens, even though I don't have any idea, and I just bought this particular classic because it was in the Penguin English Library books that I collect. And today, I'm gonna get real. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna tell you what exactly I know about these classics that I'm anticipating reading, if I know a lot about them, if I know absolutely nothing. And I'm also slightly testing the waters for a series I'm thinking about doing in 2019. These 5 books are the classics that I want to get to the most soon. This is Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. I have read one Thomas Hardy before, and that was Two on a Tower, and I thought that was actually pretty good, so I feel good about going into this one. Tess of the D'Urbervilles is one of those books that I think a lot of people studied at school. I did not. I don't really know anything about it. That's not true. I know some things. I know the protagonist is Tess, and she is like a country girl who has this like secret in her past that brings her shame, but it shouldn't bring her shame, and I think it has some stuff to do with like sexual morality in Victorian England. Next one is Villette by Charlotte Bronte. Charlotte Bronte most famously wrote Jane Eyre, although this is her most autobiographical novel, I believe. I had fairly just like average feelings on Jane Eyre. I know so many people adore it, and I thought it was fine. So I'm really interested to read more of Charlotte Bronte's work and see if there's something in this one that I enjoy a bit more. It is about a governess who goes to Brussels, and I think she ends up in some sort of like love triangle. I don't know, that's what I want from this video, to be completely honest in telling you that I don't know anything about these books. I feel like another thing that sometimes slightly puts me off classics is the larger of them, and I know that's so silly because like not all classics are massive, just like not all contemporary books are massive, but I'm just really a fan of the short book. Is that a numbers thing? Potentially, but I just feel like there's a lot to be said with saying having the most, like the maximum impact with the minimum amount of words. That's why I'm a poet. Next one is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I've been trying to read all of Jane Austen's books for literally years, and this is the last novel that I have to go, and I genuinely don't know anything about it. Literally, the only thing that I know about Mansfield Park is that the main character is called Fanny, like a vagina, and that in my degree this book was briefly alluded to in order to teach about how you can read colonialism even though it's not explicitly in a text, like you can read beneath the surface. I have a first class honours degree in literature. This next one is Evelina by Frances Burney. I like the cover of this one. It's a really nice shade of pink. If I remember correctly, this is about a woman who like enters into an upper class kind of society and is somewhat confused by it, and it's satirical and about women. And the final classic that I'm going to talk about that I would like to read in the relatively near future is Hard Times by Charles Dickens. I think I'm gonna try read this one in Victober. Just gonna start drumming up the hype for that one. All I know about this book is that it's about a headmaster and there's some hard times, maybe some strifes, I don't know. I always ask people that know more about classics than I do where I should start with Charles Dickens, because, well, I say start, where I should go next with Charles Dickens. I've read A Christmas Carol and I really like A Christmas Carol, but then I just don't know where to go next, and I always ask people about it and I always just ignore their advice. But I genuinely think this is gonna be the one I read. I hope this was good content. Girl talks about books she doesn't know anything about. Genuinely, I would quite like to have read all 5 of those books by the end of the year. And 5 books in, how many months have we got left of the year? September, October, November, December. 4 months, and we've got Victober in there. I could totally read all of those books by the end of the year. And I would like to start doing maybe a seasonal version of this, maybe, where I'm brutally honest about the fact that I don't know anything about the classics on my TBR. Need to come up with a catchy name for it though. Can't have a series with a rubbish name. Let me know down below in the comments if you think this is a good idea for a series, or if you just think you wasted your time watching someone talk about books that they didn't know anything about. Also, if you would like to donate to the Alzheimer's Society through my Just Giving page, there will be a link to that down below. I'm walking a 6k to raise money for the Alzheimer's Society, and yeah, I would really appreciate it, even if you could only chuck a couple pounds my way. They would make me really happy. No pressure, ovs. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a brilliant day, and I will talk to you in my next video.